arcade sucks!
Welcome back to another Fan Game Friday. Well, kinda, really not, but technically, Sonic Runners Revival. Now, this game is a fan remake of the defunct Sonic Runners game, and I kind of wanted to go over this because generally the fans preserving this is just an amazing thing, and this is making me like relive my childhood like all over again, and I've genuinely just been enjoying playing this game, and I figured out how to get it. I'm playing on iPhone. You could probably tell by the little line thing at the bottom of the screen. That's gonna ignore that. That's just my phone being my phone. But this is all post-com, by the way. So I'll just kind of talk about generally my experience and kind of how it works. This is kind of all the characters. This is where they get all their. This is where you get all the characters, and with Runners Revival, it's actually been reworked where the wheel system can actually be, one, Red Star rings could be obtained easier, and two, you could actually buy all these characters, whereas before you actually had to, I think you had to roll for them back in 2016, back in the day when this game came out. I believe so. And each character, as you can see, has a certain ability, so they all have fly, speed, and power, but they all have something like future or wild or something like that. So like for future, it slows them down, which by the way, Silver's a freaking bum. Silver hate is justified as frick, by the way. And even with this Runners Revival, they've actually added characters like Tangle and Whisper, thanks to the people who are developing this game or remaking this game. But they also have another game called Reloaded, which we might check out soon. I don't know. I think Reloaded is not as good as this game. I think Reloaded is fun, but it's just generally not as fun as this game. And then obviously there was the buddy system where you could equip buddies, and they all had certain things to help you with your runs on this game. And the whole thing with this game is it was a 2D side-scrolling game. It was a 2D side-scrolling game that kind of was like an endless runner, basically. It was very unique, and it's honestly probably the best mobile Sonic game we've gotten, to be honest. Not counting like the classic game ports. I don't count that because those are like full-fledged games that were originally not on a console, and Sonic 4 doesn't count either because they're on consoles. So like for me, those don't count. But like this was like Sonic Dash was great, but this was just a way better game, and it's surprising that Sega didn't think this made enough money. But either way, I still think this game is great, and I've been playing it a lot, this Revival, because it is completely and totally faithful to the original, minus a few like add-ons and some more quality of life features to help make it easier on people to be able to obtain the things that they want and get characters pretty quickly. I think they even changed the roulette system to where you can do multi-spins or like multi-pulls, because this was kind of like a small gacha game, and I'm willing to bet that Sonic Rumble is going to be like that, because the thing with Sonic Rumble is, one, when the frick is that game coming out? But two, Sonic Rumble is like not like, it's just not this game. But anyway, I'm going to be showing off the 3 different styles, but here's kind of what the roulette used to look like. And since I had a lot, I was able to pull, and this is when I got Tangle. I got Tangle like right before I recorded this, and I got Tangle right there, as you can see, which I wasn't too happy about. I don't really like the comic characters, to be honest with you. So you snooze, you lose. If you like the comic characters, then I do not care. But yeah, that's kind of just how the roulette is. But this is starting out the run, so I'm just going to go through all 3 of them, kind of what the different characters do, and just kind of be showing off some gameplay and stuff. I kind of suck, newsflash, but it is what it is, and you can see down there what the buddies do and how they function. But speed characters. So speed characters are probably my favorite in this game, and they have something that's completely and totally different. So this game was out around the time of like Lost World, so like, and it was around the time like, when Sonic started doing the double jump in games. But here, speed characters can do a triple jump, which is a really cool thing that I really like about the speed characters. Very unique. Triple jumps have been in games before, but like for this type of game, it really works, and I think it's really fun, especially when they like kind of make like, you'll see kind of how the level design works in these layouts for the games and the levels and whatnot, and how they do these, as well as there's items. So there's Wisp, Asteroid, Laser, and Drill are all in here. Drill is not my favorite. The only reason I'm using it down there and the little item thing that you can see down there is because I have way too many freaking of them, and I'm trying to get rid of them. So in this phase, this is the phase right before you speed up, and basically what will happen here is you will be able to attack Eggman to grab a bunch of rings and or red star rings. Sometimes they'll drop. You'll be able to get them. Once time runs out, he'll do this, and then the game then speeds up. Laser is probably my favorite item in this game because it just goes forward and shoots a bunch of stuff for you. And this is kind of when I just started using all my items. I usually use my items in the second go round, but the little blue, green, and red things is a combo meter, and those kind of help increase your score a little bit. But they're to build combo, and building combo is like really important in this game because not only does it contribute to like your score overall at the end, but it helps your buddies proc their abilities. So that big Shao Walker guy, every time I get a 200 combo, his ability procs where he basically just sucks in a bunch of stuff for you, and it's really, really good, and it's really, really awesome. And then Chip is able to do a 9-second dash at the end of the run to be able to get you a little bit more points and distance off of your run. And then for some reason I hit the volume button there. I don't know why I did. Oh, I was at work when I filmed this. That's why I hit the volume button. Because one of my coworkers was he had left, and I was like, oh, I could turn the game up now because I like hearing volume on this game because I love the music in this game. I often go back and listen to the music, and it makes me cry, man. When I think about this game, before I was able to get my hands on Revival for real, when I used to think about this game, man, I would just cry. I honestly would, because this game was like everything. This game was everything to me in 2016, man. I remember like I was like the week that it got canceled. I was at like a summer camp, and this kid had locked my freaking phone out to where I literally could not use it. Like he got the password incorrect enough amount of times to where I literally couldn't even freaking use the phone. Like I couldn't access it. I had to wait till I got home and had to completely like factory reset my phone, which sucked because they hadn't shut down the servers for Sonic Runners yet, and I was still able to play it. So I was like really happy. And this was like right as they had shut it down. Man, I'll tell you what, I beat the frick out of that kid. I'm just gonna be honest. I beat the frick out of that kid. I really did. I beat the frick out of him, and I never saw him again after that. I never did, because he knew what was coming to him. I mean, he did. He terrorized a bunch of us, but that's a story for another day. Maybe I'll tell that in the future, but who knows. But as you can see, Amy is a Rose type, and what she does is she basically increases the amount of animals that you get. And I've never quite known what animals do in Runners. If I had to assume, I'm pretty sure Runners increase your bonus on the combo, if I'm not too mistaken. I think that's what they do, but I'm not too sure. I've never actually been incredibly clear on what animals do. I've always just collected them just cuz, but I've never actually known what the heck they do. And I think I do. So when you die, you're able to use red star rings to continue your run. I did continue the runs here because I wanted to. I think I got a new record on this part of the film. Because, like I said, the speed stages are my favorite here. But as you can see, it's side scroller, and you really only have to hit one button, and that's it. You just hit the screen, and they do what you need them to, and they're pretty. It's pretty self-explanatory. There's not much there that is going on. And this is part of the story. So this game has a lot of different modes, and you probably saw it in the menu. For those modes, it's just time mode, which is like a multiplayer mode kind of thing where you like verse off, and it's based on your highest score that you get when you're doing those runs. And then it's also like it does different stages, but it's a limited amount of time. You can only do it and you have to like collect clocks to get like more time off of it and stuff. And then the story mode is like an endless mode. You can just do that. And there is also an offline practice mode, which is kind of like an endless mode anyway, because what happened is after they shut this game down, they hired Gameloft to make a sequel called Sonic Runners Adventure. And like it was fun, I guess, but the way they structured it it wasn't as good as this game. It just wasn't this game. It didn't have these little combo things. It didn't have these little It just had rings, and let me tell you, when you're just hearing rings 24/7 in place of these little gems, man, it gets annoying. It is so bad. And not only that, the game just doesn't have the style that this game has. Like, this game just has style, and it's so good. And I love every part of this game. But, you know, and I loved it as a kid. You know, I played it all the time. I would go everywhere and I played this game, and I would be destroying my battery for this game. But you can kind of see some of the items here that you can use, and this is the flying stage. This is when I did time mode, so I guess this is better than nothing. This was the only place I could get a flying stage, because you can get them in the story mode, but they rotate depending on where you're at in the story. But for this one, I ran Merlina and Shara, because they're flying types, and you know, they activate items, which is really good because items are really good in this game. But I guess this is better than nothing because I can actually show off the time mode and what it's like. So Tikal was one of the first characters I got, which I didn't have her in the original, if I remember. The last character that got added to the original runners before they shut it down was actually Werehog Sonic, and I actually had him, so I was running Sonic and Werehog Sonic. Which we'll get to the power types in a little bit. I used to like them back as a kid. Now they're kind of my least favorite, but I kind of liked them as a kid. I kind of like the runner, and then the flying is really good too. And then I got a notification there. I know it's cringy as frick. I forgot to turn off Do Not Disturb, or forgot to turn it on. But flying type, they're kind of like speed characters, but like discount. So you can hold down the screen to do a hover, basically, for like a short amount of time. And when they run out of juice, you won't be able to do it anymore. So it's a little better to like just tap the screen periodically, because then you have more, and hopefully you can kind of reach. And you'll see that the game and the level layouts and the level design will kind of guide you in that direction anyway. Sometimes it'll be like, okay, hold it all the way down. But it's really dangerous to kind of do it all the way down. Hold it all the way down, because you'll actually like fall off the stage. Like, it's happened to me like a lot since like getting back into this game and whatnot. But this is still like, you know, you can see I'm like tapping the screen here. If I were to like hold it down all the way. Also, I don't know why the frick I was running into, dude, this was not my day for recording. Like, I legit was just like running into crap like all the daggum time, because I was like, I don't know. Oh no, yeah, that's right. There was, when I was at work, like I said, recording this, and I heard something, and so I was like, my attention got shot, and I was getting hurt. But you can see it's kind of a glowing thing, and I kind of like that Tikal, instead of being a power character, she's like this flight character because of, you know, her flying and Sonic Adventure. It's really cool. I actually wanted Tikal really bad when the game first came out, because it was cool that she was like in the game. It was like one of the first games we ever got like a playable Tikal in. But yeah, let me just talk a little bit about, there's not much to talk about up until we get to the next part, which is the the power sections. But I guess I could kind of talk about this game and kind of what it did right and what it, you know, I guess did wrong theoretically, which I don't think it really did much wrong. They were supporting this game, but apparently it didn't earn enough for them, and they just thought it was a failure. I honestly think Sega just didn't want to have to update the game, because they were already working on updating Sonic Dash and other games like that. And they were just too lazy to update their game. I honestly think that was the real reason. I think Sega should bring this back, you know, but for now we have this fan project, and you know, it's great to see these fan projects that we have in the form of this, in the form of you know, the Unleashed Recompile, because we don't have an official port for PC or anything for Unleashed, unfortunately. And you know, Unleashed is like the best Sonic game ever made, and we still don't. And then, you know, the 06 remake by Chaos X, that one is also awesome as well, because obviously, you know, 06, they're never going to remake that game, and that game is just, it's bad. That's a fact. That's true. You know, I'm not lying about that. I don't think anybody would, but it's cool that we're getting that, and it's a good way for us as Sonic fans to be able to eat good, especially right now as we wait for, you know, the next Sonic game to come out, because Sonic Frontiers was pretty good. But either way, yeah, this game did a lot right. I thought it was really fun, and honestly, this game as a concept, like, don't get me wrong, endless runner games like Sonic Dash, definitely works for a concept like Sonic, it's very perfect because, you know, Sonic runs fast and he runs, you know, running endlessly. That's a perfect concept for Sonic, you know. So Sonic Dash makes a lot of sense. But this game, I felt like, made way more sense. Sonic's roots were in 2D, you know, having a simple way of play where you just have to tap the screen and that's it. Like, very much just easy to play, easy to grasp, and, you know, they lay out these those little combo skill. I don't know what those things are called. I guess combo gems. Yeah, like those little combo gems, just laying those out for you to be able to kind of tell you and guide you where to go to like dodge it, but also how chaotic it gets near the end is awesome. And it's just always been something super fun. So power characters, these guys used to be my favorite. Not that much anymore. They're cool. So what they do basically is they have a jump, and then you hit the jump again, and they do this kind of like little like dash, like crash, like dash thingy, like basically like this, yeah, like this, like you saw it there. They do this like little like power glide into things basically, and then you can jump again out of that if you so wish. They can also break those black enemies right there. If you use any other character that isn't a power type on those black enemies, you'll just bounce off of them, so they don't get destroyed. Or if you have, you know, the Wisp or anything like that, then you can also use those. But that's primarily how power characters work. They're not as fun, but yeah, you can see there I did like a double jump off of those. But the little dash thing is cool, especially like once you start getting faster, there's some cool stuff. And if you hit more stuff, they'll do it for longer, so that's pretty cool. But they do kind of like fall down slightly, so they're still pretty fun to use. But I tend to mess up a lot with them. But you can see right there, I can just dash all the way through those. But yeah, Sonic and Endless Runner games kind of work perfectly in tandem with each other, and I really think that a lot of people didn't think this game. I think Sega thought this game didn't succeed because obviously a lot of people were probably free to play. And if I remember anything about this game, it was that this game. Okay, sorry about that. So I had to do a little edit right there, but yeah. Endless Runner games are kind of like a perfect thing for Sonic games in general because obviously, you know, Sonic does run fast and whatnot, and having different characters do different things, especially with this game where it was so unique that they were able to, like, you know, make power types and kind of bring back the Sonic Heroes formula in a little bit of a ways with the, you know, standard hero, fly, and power, which is, you know, kind of just been a staple from Sonic for a long time anyway. But you know, compared to Sonic Dash, where it's like every character plays the exact same. You're just playing with it's basically just a glorified like skin. That's all it is. It's like you're just playing with a different character. Maybe their running animations a little different and they look different color wise, you know. But like Sonic Dash is like, it's just that game, and it really feels like they didn't support that game as much as they definitely could have supported this game. But I really think that a lot of the reason that Sega probably felt like this game failed was because of the gacha. The gacha was incredibly unfair when this game came out, which, fair. And a lot of people, especially kids who were probably playing this game, probably were free to play. I know I was free to play when this game came out, and this game was heavily free to play, unfriendly. You know, I play a lot of gacha games, so I know how that is. And now, you know, if this game was still out, I'd probably be willing to shell out money on this game. Comparatively, like, because I shell out money on gacha games with no problem, you know. And although I understand that's a predatory practice that, you know, I don't think kids should be getting in, so I guess that's probably why they did it. Sega finally had a guilty conscience. It was like, dang, we're robbing people blind with this junk, bro. We're DSV robbing them, like, you know, kind of thing. So I think that's kind of why they decided to take this game back. I don't really think it had to do with failing or anything. I feel like they really were just like, well, we're going to, you know, teach kids to kind of gamble, and we have a completely and totally unfair system that our fan base knows is unfair, you know. And my thing is I'm personally going to just tell you shouldn't gamble. You know, it's very addictive. It's a great way to lose your freaking money. I would know. I would know. I'm a retired Genshin vet. I played Genshin for like 3 years straight before I started YouTube. And I stopped playing, and I still play a lot of gacha games like Epic 7. I played Atelier Resiliana when that came out before it shut down. I still play some gacha games here and there, Zenless Zone Zero and whatnot. But yeah, that's pretty much it. This Sonic Runners Revival has been, it's an amazing game. Go pick it up if you haven't already.